We thank Jean-Pierre Longbasi for having enabled us some years ago to hold a cities conference here, which attracted 13,000 people globally, and from which we have derived very, very good programs since then to support not only the county government of Kisumu, but devolution in general in our republic. I do hope, Mr. President, that it will be possible sooner rather than later, as we have discussed with you and Jean-Pierre Longbasi, that the regional office of UCLGA in Nairobi will be vibrant to ensure that what UCLGA stands for in promoting subnational governments in Africa is led from Nairobi under the guidance of Your Excellency. This morning, Your Excellency, we are also privileged, really, to have Shelter Afrique, which is an important organization in the area of housing, and we welcome the Chief Executive of Shelter Afrique among us, and we also welcome those who represent other development organizations, national and international, with us this morning. Your Excellency, Kisumu has been a growing county within the framework of the Lake Region Economic Bloc, which puts together 14 counties around the lake with a total population of 14 million people. Now, the lake is an important factor in our life because it's also an important factor in communication between Kenya and East Africa, particularly Kenya and Uganda and Tanzania. You remember, Your Excellency, when the East African community collapsed in 1978, we suffered a big shock when the port in Kisumu collapsed with the East African community. When the port was closed in 1978, and the railway station in Kisumu also came to a standstill, the only thing that survived was the railway workshop in Kisumu, where the equipment endured the test of time until very recently when it was opened. Now, when I became governor and we went to the lake with His Excellency, former President Uhuru Kenyatta, and we saw the waste that was lying there, it was decided that the port should be revived. And indeed it was. One of the most interesting things is that we excavated, using Kenya Shipyard Company, as well as Kenya Ports Authority, a lot of vessels which are sunk to the bottom of the lake. One of them was a big ship, which had laid there for over 20 years, but except for the software, all the hardware survived. So when it was brought to shore, Kenya Shipyard Company was capable of reviving it and repairing it to sail on the lake at MV Uhuru 1. This was with the help of the Dutch government, but after the resurrection of MV Uhuru 1, our people learned the science and technology of making ships so fast that the Dutch said it was time for them to go. And Kenya Shipyard has since then built on their own MV Uhuru 2. The two ships are now sailing between Kisumu and Uganda, transporting goods. And one of the most important investments in this county, whose goods are transported across the lake to Uganda and Mwanza and so on, is a ceramics company here in Miwani, which is very successful and depends entirely on the lake for transporting its goods to neighboring countries, which is an important business for both the ceramic plant as well as ourselves. I'm telling you this story, His Excellency the President and AFSNET, that communication and infrastructure is extremely important in promoting business trade, not just for subnational governments like ourselves, but also for the East African community as a whole. We have done very well, Your Excellency, to ensure that this continues. But I appeal to you, Your Excellency, that trade on the lake, especially by our small fishermen, should be supported. The Kenya Shipyard Company is doing a very important thing on making fiberglass boats now, which can be sold to fishermen. We in Kisumu County have launched a project for supporting the cooperatives among the fishermen, for improving landing beaches and making the fishermen buy fiberglass boats. Why do I emphasize the importance of fiberglass boats? Because softwood is no longer viable for making boats. It makes it very possible for the tin inside that the fishermen put inside to rust from the bottom. And therefore, when they go to the middle of the lake and they are fishing, water seeps from the bottom as it rains, and we lose a lot of people in the lake. Lake Victoria Commission, an entity of the East African community, estimates that between Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, those who are using softwood for making boats, we lose about 5,700 fishermen in the lake because of the softwood used for making the boats. This is where Kenya Shipyard Company comes very important in making fiberglass boats for our fishermen to save lives, but also to ensure that the fishing industry survives. Your Excellency, I stand here on this special day, really, to welcome all of you to the great county of Kisumu, and specifically to this beautiful city nestled by the shores of Lake Victoria I've been speaking about. We are pleased, Your Excellency, and proud as a county government to host the 4th African Sub-Sovereign Governance Network Conference in collaboration with the African Continental Free Trade Area, African Export-Import Bank, AFSNET Bank, and the United Cities and Local Government of Africa. We are happy, Your Excellency, because this important conference has raised the status of our city, coming hereby barely 2 years after we hosted UCLG's 9th summit of AFRICITI Summit here in Kisumu. It is a clear indication, Your Excellency, that Kisumu is blazing the trail as a leading destination for international trade and investment conferencing. Your Excellency and delegates, this conference is meant to strengthen the role of Africa's sub-sovereign governments in driving intra-African trade and investment. The conference will provide a perfect platform for sub-sovereign countries, Kenya included, on the future of sustainable trade and investment. The conference theme, leveraging the FCCA for sustainable trade and investment, a development pathway for African sub-sovereigns, captures the intention and objectives of the 2-day meeting we have this week. One of the key objectives of the conference is to foster greater collaboration in promoting trade, development, and investment initiatives among African sub-sovereigns, aligned with the African Continental Free Trade Area's goals. It is worth noting that Africa's economic renaissance is hinged on unbridling the developmental capacity of local governments and increasing decentralization. Despite the gains made in decentralization in recent decades, African local governments still have low administrative and fiscal capacity to realize the much-needed local economic development. For the 2 days, we will be asking ourselves how we have used our existing networks and collaboration to champion Africa's development to help reduce over-reliance on foreign aid, which often comes with tough conditions. Allow me, Your Excellency, to appreciate AFSNET Bank for the formation of African Sub-Sovereign Network as a platform to facilitate the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, to promote trade, investment, and industrialization among African sub-sovereign governments. I am convinced that the AFSNET, the governments will improve inter-regional trade on the continent and provide platform for public-private sector collaboration, enhance regional integration, and peer learning. As an innovative tool of the AFSNET Bank, AFSNET therefore comes in handy to bridge the gap and allow sub-sovereigns to accelerate and improve the quality of economic growth in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, with these opportunities, African sub-sovereign authorities must prepare to expand intra-African trade, investment, and industrialization to help create jobs. I am laying the emphasis on job creation because the rapid urbanization in our continent has brought a crisis, joblessness, and rise in crime, especially among the youth. We in Kisumu can testify to that. You can see in the newspapers recently that we are being featured as a city where thuggery and criminals are ravaging the lives of people. It's not that bad, but we recognize it exists, and it must be dealt with. I'm confident that with the booming trade and investments, job opportunities and quality of life will improve, and this criminality and joblessness will also go down. To improve our economies and create more job opportunities, we must invest in micro, small, and medium enterprises and integrate them into the African free trade area value chain. But we cannot do all this, Your Excellency, without working together and having close collaboration with our national governments. The Kenyan Constitution says that there are two types of governments in our republic. One national and 47 county governments, separate but interdependent. Both levels of government must invest on the improvement of infrastructure as an enabler for economic growth and robust trade. We need physical infrastructures like rail, the new railroad being built from Mombasa to Kisumu, the standard gauge railway. Your Excellency, is a must. And it has to go to Uganda, as you have promised. Roads, maritime, and energy to spur industrialization. In that regard, the renaissance of the port of Kisumu and admirable growth of the Kenya Shipyard Company before your government and now under your government, Mr. President, we have to invest further in that area to enhance trade and commerce in the Lake region. Your Excellency, this conference will feature an exhibition aimed at boosting local trade and investment opportunities. In Kisumu, we will be looking for investors for high-end projects, which include the completion of a FIFA standard Moi Stadium, which is destined to co-host the Africa Cup of Nations, AFCON, in 2027. We are happy to announce that our national government is resolute in supporting the completion of ultra-modern Kisumu International Conference Center, which is currently 75% complete. This project was started during the AFSNET Summit, but was not completed due to shortage of funds then. The completion of both the convention center as well as the exhibition center will no doubt give a conducive business environment for private sector investment in a hotel in that area. Mr. President, our guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm wishing you a very happy stay in Kisumu. As my friend Jean-Pierre Longbasi has agreed, him and the President, Professor Rama, are prepared to stay here for a week longer. As a host, I'm prepared to host you. Allow me, therefore, at this moment, to play for you a short documentary showcasing investment portfolios in Kisumu County. Can you put on the documentary, please?
Welcome to Kisumu, where opportunity meets innovation on the shores of Lake Victoria. As one of the Kenya's most dynamic cities, Kisumu is transforming into an investment hub that connects East Africa to the world. Kisumu's breathtaking landscapes, rich cultural heritage, and warm hospitality make it a top destination for travelers. Kisumu's hospitality sector is growing rapidly, offering everything from lakeside resorts to eco-lodges. From lake adventures to cultural heritage sites, there is a wealth of opportunities for investors to elevate Kisumu's tourism potential. Investors in hospitality have a chance to create unforgettable experiences for visitors, capturing a market that is ready to expand. Set to host large gatherings and international summits, the upcoming conference center at Mamboleo ASK grounds will place Kisumu firmly on the map for global events.
It opens an opportunity for an international hotel to be built there. That hotel will provide facilities for conferees and for other tourists and people who come to Kisumu.
Healthcare is a priority for Kisumu, and the new cancer center stands as a testament to this commitment. Investment in health infrastructure offers high-impact opportunities that will make quality healthcare more accessible across the region. In a milestone for healthcare, MedAdditives is bringing a state-of-the-art pharmaceutical plant to Kisumu, aiming to serve the healthcare needs of Kenya and neighboring countries.
MedAdditives, which is a pharmaceutical firm from the US, working together with the Great Lakes University, the private university, a unique initiative where the university and MedAdditives are working together. One, for MedAdditives to establish a pharmaceutical firm. Two, for the university to give it an opportunity for having a faculty of pharmacy where students will be learning as well as working practically in the pharmaceutical factory.
This facility not only creates local jobs, but also underscores Kisumu's potential as a regional healthcare hub.
If you look at our landscape, almost 70% of the medications used in East and Central Africa are imported from other countries. We looked at Kisumu as very well positioned to have this kind of industries. Because of the location of Kisumu, it is next to the lake, and therefore can uses water transport. It has an international airport within it. It is the gateway for East and Central Africa, and so anything manufactured here can easily find its way into the rest of the East and Central African countries.
The Kisumu Special Economic Zone is designed to catalyze trade and industry. Offering incentives and infrastructure tailored to business needs, the Special Economic Zone is a gateway for investors ready to tap into East Africa's growing trade landscape. A good example is the Keda Ceramics International Mwani Factory, a $160 million USD plant dealing in ceramic tiles and sanitary ware production. Efforts are underway to improve power stability, accessibility, and other infrastructures. By investing in manufacturing, stakeholders can harness the power of Kisumu's skilled workforce and assess East Africa's expanding markets. Kisumu's passion for sports is undeniable, and the proposed international stadium at Moi Stadium will elevate this love of sports. This project opens doors for investors interested in sports infrastructure, youth development, and community engagement.
This FIFA style or FIFA size stadium requires substantial investment, but also good returns.
The vast waters of Lake Victoria hold tremendous potential for Kisumu's blue economy. From fishing and aquaculture to waterfront recreation, investments in sustainable lakefront development are reshaping the way Kisumu interacts with its greatest natural asset.
Our promenade around Lake Victoria, that provides a tremendous opportunity for leisure and for investment in hotels and other entertainment facilities.
Kisumu's agricultural landscape is a vibrant sector driven by rich soils and innovation. With opportunities in crop production, agri-processing, and modern farming technologies, investors can help meet East Africa's demand for sustainable food production.
Our three main agricultural products, both for the domestic and international market, are rice, cotton, and sugarcane.
Kisumu is becoming a digital powerhouse supported by tech hubs and a generation of innovative minds. The city's ICT sector is ideal for investors looking to nurture startups, expand e-commerce, and create smart solutions for a digital world. As Kisumu grows, so does the need of reliable water infrastructure. Investment in water systems supports agriculture, industry and households, enhancing the resilience of the entire city to meet future demands. Kisumu is not just a city, it's a vision for Africa's future. With opportunities across tourism, healthcare, green energy and more, we invite you to be part of our journey. Come invest in Kisumu and help shape a sustainable, prosperous future.
Having seen that X-rated movie, could I not call upon Jean-Pierre Longbasi, Secretary General UCLGA, please to come and address the audience. Jean-Pierre, karibu.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, sir. Your Excellency, the Governor of Kisumu County. Your Excellency, the President and Chairman of the Board of African Export-Import Bank. Your Excellency, the CEO of Shelter Africa Development Bank. Your Excellency, the Chairman of the Forum of the Region of Africa, Your Excellency, the Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum and Governor of Oyo State, leaders of sub-sovereign government of Africa, esteemed development partners and investors, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Excellency, sir, I bring you the greetings of the President of the United Cities and Local Government of Africa, UCLG Africa, the umbrella organization representing the voice of the 17 subnational and local government operating on the continent, Madam Fatoumata Abdel Malik, President of the region of Nouakchott in Mauritania. I'm addressing you as the Secretary General of the UCSG Africa, headquartered in Rabat, Morocco, with regional offices established in Cairo, Egypt for North Africa, Accra, Ghana for West Africa, Libreville, Gabon for Central Africa, Nairobi, Kenya for East Africa, and Pretoria, South Africa for Southern Africa. I am humbled to stand before you at this opening ceremony of the 4th Africa Sovereign Government Network Investment Conference here in Kisumu. I feel like coming back home when I'm in Kisumu. Not only because for any African, home is everywhere in Africa, but also because for any UCLG Africa member, Kisumu has a special flavor, as it is the very first intermediary city to have hosted successfully the AFSNET Summit in 2022. And you know that the AFSNET Summit is the most important and world-renowned dialogue platform on local governance organized on the African continent. The successful organization of the AFSNET Summit in Kisumu has been an eye-opener for many decision makers from the national and local government, but also from the finance, investors, business, and community. It made them understand the huge untapped potential that the African intermediary cities are endowed with that can be mobilized for the economic development and structural transformation of the continent. UCLG Africa submit that intermediary cities should be considered as the backbone of sustainable growth and development of African countries and of the continent as a whole. UCLG Africa further submits that the African intermediary cities are the cornerstone of the Africa continental trade free trade area and should be given the attention they deserve for them to participate fully in connecting rural and urban economies, thus giving birth to stronger local and national and regional economies. UCIG Africa submit again that the continent's economic integration will be accelerated if enabling conditions were put in place to promote cross-border decentralized cooperation partnership between subnational and local government across Africa, thus transforming the borders inherited from the colonial period from point of rupture to point of suture, in the apt words of His Excellency Alpha Oumar Konaré, former President of Mali and former Chairman of the African Union Commission. UCIG Africa submit also that competition between countries to attract investment increasingly revolves around the attractiveness and smooth running of cities and regions, hence the importance of making devolution work, an option that the government of Kenya is successfully implementing under your leadership. Mr. President, at this juncture of my statement, allow me to commend the African Export-Import Bank for its invaluable support to sub-sovereign government. And this fourth African Sub-Sovereign Government Network Conference is testimony to AFSNET's resolve to contribute in building strong developmental subnational and local governments on the continent, working hand in hand with the national government and the other stakeholders. We thank AFSNET for having joined the Development Bank of Southern Africa, DBSA, among the sponsors of the Africa Territorial Trade and Investment Agency, ATIA, a special purpose vehicle set up by UCIG Africa to allow African subnational and local government to meet their infrastructure financing and capacity building needs. We wish that other development banks from Africa, such as the African Development Bank, Shelter Afrique Development Bank, and other regional development banks, also join the club of ATIA's sponsors. We are contemplating the entry into operation of ATIA during the first quarter of the year 2026. Excellency, Mr. President, during the Africa Climate Summit, organized under your leadership in September 2023, here in Nairobi, not here, but in Nairobi, you launched the Building Climate Resilience for the Urban Poor, BCROP, an initiative by the UN Secretary General defined during the UN Climate Summit held in 2019, for which the head of state of Kenya was designated as the leader for BCROP implementation in Africa, while the head of state of Brazil was made the leader of BCROP implementation in Latin America. We are expectant of the political support of Your Excellency to mobilize the interests of your peers in Africa, to walk the talk through the effective implementation of BCROP in the 14 countries that volunteered to be among the BCROP pilot countries. BCROP implementation is coordinated in Africa by a coordinating team located at the UCIG Africa Regional Office in Nairobi, for which we humbly seek for your assistance and blessing to expedite the signing of the headquarter agreement and the release of seed financial support to kickstart its operation. And I'm happy that you promise that this will be done very soon under your scrutiny. Thank you. Despite the mixed result we got during climate negotiation held at COP29 in Baku, one can't help but be concerned by the minuscule share of Africa on carbon emission compared to the heavy price our continent is paying as a result of the impact on our cities and territories of extreme weather events translating into drought, floods, landslides, coastal erosion, and so on, costing lives and assets to our cities and territories. The African position defined under your leadership during the African Climate Summit inspired the Africa Group of Negotiators to articulate a strong position under the leadership of the Kenya Special Envoy for Climate, also the chair of the African Group of Negotiators. I congratulate you for that. Mr. President, we are confident that through your inspired and visionary leadership, Africa will make serious progress towards the improvement of the living condition of the African people, particularly those living in poor neighborhoods of our city, and they constitute 60% of our cities, and particularly the youth that are yearning for opportunities, hope, and a dignified life. Let's work together to get Africa Agenda 2063 of the Africa we want come real and not just staying as unreachable goal. I thank you for your attention.
Next, Your Excellency, it's my pleasure to now invite the President and Chairperson of the Board of Directors, Afrexim Bank, His Excellency Professor Benedict Orama, to give his remarks. Why don't we clap for him as he's coming? Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremony. His Excellency and dear brother and strong supporter of our bank, Dr. William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya. His Excellency's honorable ministers gathered here this morning, His Excellency Professor Peter Anyang Nyong'o, Governor of Kisumu County, our very dear host and partner in the work we are doing with sub-sovereigns. Your Excellencies, representatives of sub-sovereigns who are here with us attending this conference, Excellency and dear brother, the President of Sheta Afrique, Mr. Habib, Excellency, the Secretary General of AFSNET Secretariat, represented today by Mr. Uzomba, Ms. Kanayo Awani, Executive Vice President of Afrexim Bank, who is the arrowhead championing the AFSNET at Afrexim Bank. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great honor that I join in congratulating the government and people of Kenya, especially the government of Kisumu County, for organizing the 4th African Sub-Sovereign Governments Network Investment Conference, convened in this beautiful city of Kisumu, a true gem of our beloved continent. As we gather in this scenic city, it will be remiss of me not to express our deepest gratitude to His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, for his magnanimity in welcoming us here today. Thank you, Your Excellency. Your presence here is not merely ceremonial. It stands as a resounding endorsement of our collective endeavor and a testament to the commitment of your government to this initiative. a pivotal instrument for reigniting African sub-sovereigns as engines for socio-economic transformation of the continent. Special thanks to our gracious and indefatigable host, who we just listened to and saw his vibrancy, His Excellency Professor Peter Nyong'o, Governor of Kisumu County. Your warm hospitality and your leadership in the organization of this conference have set the stage for an enduring future for a collective endeavor to elevate sub-sovereigns in the institutional architecture for Africa's development and regional integration. The African Sub-Sovereign Government Network initiative thrives due to the concerted efforts and unwavering commitment of partners who recognize the tremendous potential of sub-sovereign governments as the engines for broad-based economic development that extends to the grassroots of our societies. We are profoundly grateful to our dear brother, Mr. Jean-Pierre Elongumbasi, and the dedicated team at the United Cities and local governments of Africa for supporting this event and for the great work they are doing in promoting African sub-sovereigns. We thank you very much, Mr. Mbasi. We are also eternally grateful to His Excellency, the Chairman of Nigeria's Governors Forum, for attending this event and also for the support in mobilizing many governors and their representatives from Nigeria. And special thanks also to Mr. Wankele Mene, Secretary General of the AFCNET Secretariat, and of course, again, our distinguished hosts, the people and government of Kisumu County, because their invaluable contributions form the backbone of the initiative we are pursuing. Additionally, our heartfelt appreciation extends to the esteemed governors, premiers, mayors, and their officials joining us, not just from Kenya, but also from all corners of Africa. Your presence invigorates the discourse and reinforces the critical role of sub-sovereigns in both national and regional development agenda. At our President Bank, we strongly believe that for developmental initiatives to succeed in our economies, they must of necessity be decentralized. Development needs must originate and flow from the periphery towards the center. When we empower sub-sovereigns with the financial resources they rightfully deserve, we enable them to create unparalleled economic opportunities that resonate with the unique character of their local communities. This fosters not only inclusive growth, but also resilient and sustainable development that caters to the diverse needs of our peoples. It is in recognition of the foregoing that our President Bank inaugurated the African Sub-Sovereign Government Network in 2021, designed to advocate for the decentralization of national and even continental economic policies and programs, and empowering the governments of sub-sovereigns to assert their critical role in shaping both national and sub-national policies. By leveraging the requisite financial resources and fostering partnerships, we aim to catalyze local community development and enhance coordination and collaboration among sub-sovereigns. This in turn could optimize economic, trade and investment opportunities across our cities and regions. Through this effort, we are aiming to create a situation where cross-country collaboration need not be solely driven at national levels. This is consistent with the ultimate goal of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, whereby national borders in terms of trade and investments will soon disappear. For instance, there's no reason why adjacent sub-sovereigns in two neighboring countries cannot leverage efficiency gains of collaborating rather than looking further afield in their own countries. In alignment with the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, we are passionately implementing the AFSNET initiative to promote intra-regional trade and investment. Today's event team, titled Leveraging the AFCFTA for Sustainable Trade and Investment, a Development Pathway for African sub-sovereigns, is a carry-on call for action. With physical borders dissolving, adjacent states, provinces, prefectures, counties, and governorates stand poised to harness efficiencies that transcend the limitations of international divides. With the removal of trade barriers, producers in one state may discover their best markets lie just across the border, rather than hundreds of kilometers away in their own country. Nature, in its wisdom, has distributed resources devoid of political boundaries, making sub-sovereigns the pivotal players in leveraging the AFCFTA to forge cross-border industrial clusters anchored on minerals and raw materials that know no borders. Animals need no visas to roam across borders, and it is adjacent sub-sovereigns that can leverage this reality to launch a coordinated tourist investment programs based on eco or nature tourism of the type the Kisumu County appear now to be doing. We collectively recognize that cities, states, and provinces within a nation exhibit remarkable diversity, differing in population sizes, resource endowments, skill sets, and sectorial specializations. These distinctions render one-size-fits-all economic policies promulgated from the center inadequate in achieving equitable and transformative economic outcomes for all communities. A paradigm shift in our approach is not just necessary, it is imperative. As Africa embarks on its ambitious development strategy under Agenda 2063, we must advocate for models that promote balanced growth and development, not only within sectors, but also across regional and sub-regional landscapes. National policies and strategies must acknowledge and capitalize on the unique comparative advantages that sub-sovereigns possess. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm elated to inform you that we have successfully convened 3 AFSNET conferences thus far. Over these transformative years, we have forged strategic alliances, such as our partnership with the United Cities and local government of Africa. And we must thank our brother, Mr. Bassi, for making this possible. This has propelled AFSNET membership to span the entire continent. We have conducted a series of information sharing and sensitization workshops, the most recent of which was yesterday's capacity building workshop with sub-sovereign and national investment promotion agencies, facilitated by another one of our partners, the Center for International Trade, Miami, and Financial Times. And we thank them for supporting us in delivering those. In 2023, at the last AFSNET investment conference held in Cairo, Egypt, we made a commitment to significantly increase the bank's allocation to AFSNET to $2 billion. in order to support the trade and the investment financing needs of the members of the network. This support will go towards supporting sovereign governments' development programs that meet our financing requirements. And I'm happy that today we will be signing an agreement to support the pharmaceutical project that was shown today. There are also other examples. But if you see counties, states, provinces, or cities with project ideas or concepts can tap into the bank's project preparation facility, a special funding product for the development of project ideas into bankable projects. That facility is what we have provided to the promoters of the pharmaceutical project here to enable them turn the ideas into bankable projects, and then we can move on and provide the project finance that will be needed. An example also is the signing of a project preparation facility that made it possible that's making it possible for the Bakassi Seaport in Nigeria, in Calabar, Nigeria, that will cost $13.5 billion to be commenced. AFSNET Bank signed that project preparation facility recently with the state government, and therefore started preparing the project for possible financing. We had also, through the intervention of the project preparation facility, supported the KwaZulu-Natal government by preparing a project that is supporting titanium, a project called the Nyanza Light Metals Project in that province. We've been able to bring it from idea to bankability, and we are now raising an amount of $866 million in support of the project, which is about getting to closure. Another state that is taking advantage of this facility is Ogun State, Nigeria, which is seizing the opportunity to embark on a remarkable $400 million industrial park project. By harnessing the bank's initiative for developing industrial parks and special economic zones, Ogun State is paving the way for commodity-based and labor-intensive industrialization. That project has been started and will be completed early next year. By providing parcels of land to AFSNET Bank, you too can ignite the formation of dynamic industrial clusters in your region. We passionately believe in the transformative power of industrial parks and special economic zones to elevate communities into vibrant economic hubs and begin to deal with the kind of unemployment problem that the governor of Kisumu mentioned when he spoke. A significant portion of African exports are often rejected in international markets due to inadequate adherence to standards. In response, AFSNET Bank is leading the establishment of internationally accredited quality assurance centers across the continent. These centers provide crucial services such as testing, inspection, and certification, along with comprehensive training and capacity building. Our goal is to create a unified set of African standards, replacing the diverse national regulations currently in place. And we have made significant progress on this by supporting the African Regional Standard Organization through grants, which has enabled the harmonization of standards across 500 products, with work still continuing. With one African Quality Assurance Center already operational in Ogun State, Nigeria, and projects underway in Benin, Egypt, Gabon, Nigeria, and plans to commence a project here in Kenya, this is an opportunity for you as visionary leaders to collaborate in developing world-class quality assurance centers for your regions. This quality infrastructure is necessary if you hope to turn your sub-regions or your sub-sovereigns into export powerhouses. Together, we can elevate our exports to meet the rigorous standards needed for national, regional, and global markets. We can also work with you in many other ways, covering healthcare, power, ports, and the ports will include land, air, and sea, training and capacity building, manufacturing, and so on. Our President Bank team is here to broaden your perspectives on the scope of what is possible. As I bring my remarks to a close, I extend my deepest appreciation to all the governors and representatives present today. Your unwavering support for this network is not merely for your individual development, it is for the collective advancement of our continent. I look forward to seeing you in subsequent conferences. And as I close, permit me to once again thank His Excellency Dr. William Ruto for honoring us today with his presence. We thank you for your partnership with the AFSNET Bank, the many projects we are now planning to launch, covering industrial parks, quality assurance centers, and the big textile project that we have agreed to implement across Africa with the Swiss authorities, for which they are making available $5 billion. Let me also thank our host, the Governor of Kisumu, for being there for us and putting this very excellent event together. We thank you for your partnership, for making it possible for us to all be here, and for all the hospitality we've seen since we arrived. As the renowned Kenyan author Ngugi wa Thiong'o put it, and let me capture it the way he said it more succinctly. He wrote, and I quote, "The future is not what we have inherited from the past, but what we are preparing for the future." So we should only use the lessons of the past to shape our vision for tomorrow. We must always look forward. And with our President Bank on your side, you can be sure that should you need support, we will be there as much as we can. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Another round of applause for him, please. Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Professor Benedict. Your Excellency, sir, at this point, allow me to now call on Honorable John Badi, Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury and Economic Planning, to make his remarks and, in turn, invite His Excellency, the President. Why don't we welcome him with a clap? Tumpigie makofi tafadhali. Welcome, sir.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, allow me to ride on the protocol already established. I was supposed to make my comments after this session, but I'm stepping in for the Cabinet Secretary for MITI. MITI is actually Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry, Honorable Salim Vuria, who is out of the country. So, Your Excellency, allow me to commence these brief remarks by once more joining all who have spoken to commend the government of Kisumu County and AFSNET Bank for co-hosting the 4th series of Africa Sub-Sovereign Network Conference. The Africa Sub-Sovereign Network Conference was launched by the African Export-Import Bank, what is known as AFSNET Bank, during an inaugural conference held on the sidelines of the Intra-African Trade Fair in 2021, with the mission of promoting peer learning, cooperation and collaboration among among sovereign governments. The invaluable impact of peer learning is well recognized. Varied stakeholders bring with them a wealth of knowledge, skills, and resources that can be customized for the good of communities. Development often represents, in among others, the realization or revitalization of areas and of infrastructure. If government officials collaborate with the local business owners and community organizations to pool resources to find initiatives like infrastructure improvement of an area, beautification or greening projects, then each can contribute their specific and unique expertise, be it design, policy making, or other expertise to ensure success of projects. It is an excellent opportunity that this conference is co-hosted by AFSNET. This is because in the more recent past, AFSNET has shown its commitment to Kenya's development agenda through the 3-year country program aimed at boosting our economic recovery. The 3-year country program seeks to leverage on $3 billion facility to support trade and investments in Kenya's public and private sectors through loans, guarantees, facilities, trade services, investment banking, and advisory services. Also of note and worth emphasizing is the fact that AFSNET is further actively involved in deepening and expansion of the banking industry in Kenya by expanding its lines of credit and other product offerings to Kenyan banks to equip them with the muscle to support the local economy. Your Excellency, when we talk economy and development, there is really no urgency in reinventing the wheel when it comes to Africa's development agenda. Agenda 2063 encapsulates not only Africa's aspiration for the future, but also identifies key flagship programs which can boost Africa's economic growth and development and lead to the rapid transformation of the continent. The networking and learning opportunities presented through this conference series poses potential to bring forward practical and unique policy concepts that cannot be underplayed, and it is my anticipation that this opportunity will see the emergence of viable economic initiatives that will see the Kenyan economy grow in line with the bottom-up economic agenda principle, through which the government intends to continue to collaborate with the stakeholders, including the private sector, to realize projected growth. The need for innovative approaches outside the traditionally accepted lines to promote development finds a comfortable home in the choice of theme by AFSNET and County Government of Kisumu for this year's 4th edition of the Africa Sub-Sovereign Network Conference, which is leveraging the African Continental Free Trade Area for sustainable trade and investment, a development pathway for Africa sub-sovereign. So trade across the region must thrive, and AFSNET is one of the better placed institutions to guide this, since she has acquired considerable experience in successfully intervening and supporting its member states facing both short, medium, and long-term socio-economic challenges and crises, and supporting those member countries going through major macroeconomic negative shocks. Kenya was among the first African countries that signed the African Continental Free Trade Area Treaty in Kigali, Rwanda, on March 21st, 2018, marking a historic milestone in the economic integration push of the continent. The formation of a free trade area spanning the continent creates a single market of over 1.3 billion people with a combined gross domestic product of more than $3.4 trillion. Your Excellency, the move by Kenya to join the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System initiatives as an enabler for the African Continental Free Trade Area is a major milestone, as it presents the Kenyan firms with the ability to execute all trades and financial transactions seamlessly with other firms in the rest of Africa. Correspondingly, the move by the AFSNET to establish the adjustment fund is also laudable. The United States dollars of $10 billion fund will support countries Kenya included, to effectively participate in the African Continental Free Trade Area. As a major shareholder of the bank, Kenya is expected to continue to tap the opportunities offered by the bank through the adjustment fund. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, some research suggests that people with a fixed mindset tend to approach goals more passively. A growth mindset of opportunities and entrepreneurial mindsets. It means not seeing hurdles, but instead seeing how to overcome the hurdles. This conference provides that opportunity, and I hope we will each grasp it. Allow me, Your Excellency, before I invite you to address the conference, to just mention two more things. Your Excellency, I also want to associate with the sentiments of Professor Peter Nyang'yo, the Governor of Kisumu, and also with the President and Chairman of the Board of AFSNET Bank, Professor Orama, on the issue of the challenge that this country is facing, and not just Kenya, but across the region, that is of unemployment. This is urgent and must be addressed. It is the most critical challenge that we are facing as a nation. And therefore, Your Excellency, in that breath, as we get support from AFSNET Bank, and I'm happy and delighted that the AFSNET Bank is ready and willing to support our special economic zones and industrial parks. Your Excellency, allow me to disclose that last week, exactly the same day, it is only the hour which is different, it was at night, that you instructed me, Your Excellency, to make specific provision in the next budget and to support the special economic zone, especially the one in Kisumu, Kibos. I want to guarantee, Your Excellency, that your instructions will be executed. And with this possible support from AFSNET Bank, I'm even more encouraged that we'll get funding for our special economic zones and industrial parks, not just Kibos alone, but Your Excellency, there are other counties as well, including my own home county of Homa Bay, where we also have the Riwa Industrial Park, or special economic zone. Finally, Your Excellency, allow me to mention something, and I can hear Governor Orengo also shouting, what about Siaya? And by extension, what about Bungoma? Because Lusaka is also here. But finally, Your Excellency, when you graciously offered me this position that I'm occupying today of Cabinet Secretary in charge of National Treasury and Economic Planning, we had a meeting with you and we mutually agreed that we must support devolution. And both of us are actually students of devolution. Remember, we have pushed devolution together even when we were together with you in ODM. Today we are again together in broad-based government. So we agreed that we will make sure that devolution is supported and supported fully with action, not just by words. Even though we had challenges of how much to give the counties, but that I think has now been settled at 387 billion shillings, which both houses of parliament have agreed on. We have endeavored, Your Excellency, and I don't think I've disappointed you, in making sure that counties receive their funding timeously. I want to just make it clear, Your Excellency, that yes, we crossed over 2023-24 with 1 month arrears to pay under share of revenue to counties, 30.8 billion. And that amount was actually paid on 27th of July, 2024. Now for this financial year, Your Excellency, we had a little bit of a challenge because of the legal framework, but again, we both agreed that we get the opinion of the Attorney General, and which we got. I sought the opinion and we got. And immediately I got that opinion. On 24th of September 2024, we made transfer of 32.76 billion to the county governments for the month of July. And then on 17th of October 2024, we transferred 30.8 billion to the counties for the month of August. And then on 14th of November 2024, we made a transfer of 32.7 billion for the month of September. And less than a week later, on 18th, which is Monday of November 2024, we transferred 30.8 billion for the month of October. So, Your Excellency, as far as the national government is concerned, we don't have any arrears to counties, but something needs to be worked on. That is the control of budget and how that office can facilitate funds to leave the county revenue funds to the county governments. I think that needs to be dealt with urgently, and I'm sure the Deputy President will deal with that. We need to convene a meeting and see how to smoothen that process. Otherwise, Your Excellency, allow me at this juncture and my fellow participants kindly be upstanding as we welcome the President of the Republic of Kenya to come and address the gathering. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Karibu.
Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Thank you very much. You can take your seats. Asante sana. Allow me to take this opportunity on behalf of the government and people of Kenya to welcome friends and partners who have come from far and wide to attend this very important summit, to join the governor of Kisumu, Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, who has warmly welcomed all of you to Kisumu, in welcoming all of you to Kenya. Professor Anyang' Nyong'o is under very strict instructions to take good care of each and every participant. And if for one reason or another he does not, please report him to me. I will figure out what to do with him. But I am privileged to have this opportunity on behalf of the people and government of Kenya to welcome all of you to this famous Lake City, to the 4th African Sovereign Networks Conference. I am grateful to the governor of Kisumu, Professor Peter Anyang' Nyong'o, for the excellent preparation that have gone into hosting this event and the partnership that they have put together with AFSNET Bank. And I also want to thank Professor Benedict Orama for making time to join us for this conference. Your presence here, Benedict Orama, is yet another example of the unique approaches that the bank under your leadership employs in order to deepen its footprint by engaging with shareholders throughout the continent, including subnational entities like AFRI-cities and devolved governments like that of Kisumu. AFSNET has consistently demonstrated innovative approaches in advancing credit to African governments and the public sector while facilitating deeper collaboration among sub-Saharan nations. And Kenya is an example. The first decision I made was to invest another $40 million in AFSNET Bank because we see the value in growing African institutions that understand our landscape, our economies better, and they can better support, innovate, and use creative means of supporting our economies. And I want to thank you, Professor, for being a champion of solutions to our continent. I also want to confirm, as the CS for Treasury has said, we have a framework agreement with AFSNET Bank of $3 billion, and they have supported many aspects in our economy. They have supported our imports of fuel. They have supported our commodities trade. They have supported many other aspects. And today, we are going to be signing off some of the agreements that we have made in various other areas, including our infrastructure support program on roads, which we are in consultation. We are also going to sign off on matters to do with cotton value chain, and I like what Professor Anyang' Nyong'o said here, that among the three most important crops that this county and the counties in this region are involved in is cotton. You've just heard from Professor Orama that there is a facility that will support the cotton value chain, because the cotton value chain has three important aspects. Number one, it has the production sector that supports many farmers. And we have already worked with Arise, which is a company associated with AFSNET, on seed multiplication and support for farmers in the area of seed production, multiplication, and access to farmers. Secondly, we are also working with AFSNET on the next value chain, the next step, and that is the ginning, the manufacturing, and shortly they will be investing in Rivertex and some of our textile industries. And thirdly, they will also be supporting our offtake of cotton from farmers at reliable prices that can give predictability to our farmers to continue doing what they are doing in the production sector. So I will not allow you, Professor, to get into your plane until we sign off these things. These are some of the items that we have in consultation, because this spirit of innovation aligns seamlessly with the aspirations of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, creating a dynamic network of ambitious, future-ready institutions and governments. Such collaboration will drive transformative engagements at the grassroots level, enabling Africa to achieve an unparalleled position in the global value chains and make substantial contribution to their bottom-up transformation. By promoting peer-to-peer learning, this forum of AFRICITIES strengthens cooperation among sub-sovereign governments and devolution, a tremendous innovation established under our 2010 Constitution, has evolved into an exemplary success story that Kenyans are very proud of, as it has brought services closer to the people, empowered grassroots participation in governance, and safeguarded minority rights and enhanced equity in resource mobilization and allocation. And I want to agree with the CS Treasury that we have made as a government a conscious decision that we will go out of our way to support devolution and to make sure that there is timeless release